let's get right into what equipment you need for powerlifting. These are the essentials that you need. To be real with you guys, when I first got into powerlifting, I was so overwhelmed with all the equipment that is needed for it, and that's why I want to share these little gold nuggets with you. Going to start with number 5, which is chalk. Chalk is my best friend. Bruh. I don't know how I even lifted without it. Just makes everything better. Now, it is messy, especially when you keep it in a broken container, which is probably not the best way to go. I basically got a huge pack of a bunch of blocks of chalk. I stored it in here and then I put it in a Ziploc, which is a little hack because otherwise it gets all over my gym bag. What chalk does is it completely removes all the moisture from your hands, so it allows you to grab the barbell a lot more sturdy. It's not gonna slip around on you. I think it's great for safety purposes as well. When you're doing heavy squat, you got a barbell on your back, you don't want it slipping from your hands. You want everything to be tight and solid. Ever since I got chalk, my life has just changed for the better. I have also heard of liquid chalk, which is nice because it's not as messy in your gym bag and things like that. So I'm definitely going to give that a try. But for now, I just use the OG plain chalk. You can get it from Amazon. A lot of fitness equipment stores should have it. I personally think it is necessary because if it's going to enhance your lift and you're allowed to use it in powerlifting competitions, then why not practice with it? Before I get into the other equipment, I want to say make sure that you check if your equipment is IPF approved. There's a list of all the IPF approved equipment because you don't want to spend hundreds of dollars on a really nice belt and then find out you can't use it in a competition. Now, if you don't want to compete, then don't worry about it. Just get what you like. But if you are going to compete, something to consider. Fourth piece of equipment is wrist wraps. Don't get those confused with wrist straps. I always mix up the two. These are meant to stabilize your wrist and preventing any movement to really keep a stable base. I use these wrist wraps for when I barbell squat. I'm a low bar squatter, so the bar sits a bit lower on my back, and it's really important to not, you don't want that bar sliding off. You want your wrist to be stable. You don't want any injuries and things like that. So I find this just helps with my squat a lot. I actually haven't used them for bench yet. I've heard that using wrist straps for bench can be kind of a crutch if you're really not needing it. Like, it can help you get more weight up. So I'm just practicing without them until I get to a heavy enough weight where it's worth it for me to use it, because I want my wrists to be stable on their own and I want that proper form. And then if I know like my wrists are good and I'm putting on the weight with bench, then I'll start to wear them. I'm going to do a separate video more in depth about how to use each piece of equipment. I already have one for lifting belts. Here's it up here if you want to go take a look. But I wanted to show how to use these really quickly because I had no idea. It was pretty challenging. You first want to put the loop around your thumb, and so there's a designated right and left one. When you see me curling my fingers down, I'm getting the blood out of my hands. When you don't do this and you wrap it really tight, your hands are going to get really red because all that blood will still be in there. You want it to be in the middle, kind of like the bottom of your hand and the top of your wrist. So right in that area, you don't want it too low and you don't want it too high. Then you're going to wrap it around as tight as you comfortably can. And then you take the loop out, and I just make sure I can't move my wrist back and forth too much, and that's how I know it's on correctly. Make sure you stay to the end of this video because I'm going to give some bonus tips on what equipment I also find really helpful for your success in powerlifting. Third piece of equipment we're getting to is lifting belts. Now, I have the Rogue 3-inch. Again, take a look at my lifting belts video because I explain all the different belts and what I think is best for powerlifting. Now, for me, I get a 3-inch instead of a 4-inch because my build is longer legs and a shorter torso. So I just find this is good for not pinching against like my ribs and my hips. So I really have been loving the Rogue one. In my lifting belts video, I also explain how to use the belt, how to brace with it, everything like that. So a belt is great. Belt is not necessary by any means. If anything, I would say actually hold off on getting one until you master bracing properly. The belt itself doesn't provide you any support. It's there to help you in bracing. So if you don't know how to use it correctly and you don't know how to brace, it's just $200 down the drain. The other thing is you want to teach your core muscles to brace on their own and being able to support a heavy load on their own. Now, as you get into heavier and heavier weights, a belt is definitely a great tool and very helpful and can be used in competitions. So I recommend it at that point once you understand why you need a belt and how to use it. Rogue is a really great quality brand for belts. I recommend you look into Rogue. This is the one I have and I've been loving it. Second piece of equipment is powerlifting shoes. Okay, Oh my goodness, these are a little bit stinky. I have to clean them. These are Do Wins.
Bruh.
And the reason why I got these is they have a wider toe than like the Adidas ones or the Reebok ones and other brands of powerlifting shoes, and I just have a wider foot. And I find these to be really, really comfortable for me. I've loved them. I recommend that you go somewhere to try them on first and see what actually feels comfortable. Try practice, practice squats and things like that, because they're not cheap and you want to make sure that they're going to support you in the right way. The reason for getting powerlifting shoes is this elevated heel here. The heel on these is 0.75 inches. Now make sure you don't exceed the allowed height, but the reason why this is so great is if you struggle with ankle mobility, like your girl here, this will help you get depth in your squat. The reason is because your ankle does not have to bend as much when you have that bit of a heel. As you can see the picture with the elevated heel, you don't have to go into dorsiflexion as much as you do without the heel. So if you have limited range of motion in your ankles, this will help you out a lot and help you get proper depth of a squat, which is why they have been very helpful for me. And also the base is super solid. Like, these shoes are really great quality. I like how they have 2 straps for additional support with the laces underneath. I really like these Duo Wins, and even though powerlifting shoes can be quite expensive, if they're gonna last a while, I think they are a great investment. I have heard great things about the Adidas Powerlift shoes as well. Now, I just recommend trying them on again before you buy them to make sure it fits well with your foot, but I like the Duo Wins for my wider foot, as I mentioned. Now, going to number 1, we got knee sleeves. And so these are not in the IPF approved list. I just got these from Amazon. Knee sleeves. What do they do? You see people wearing them and you're like, whoa, it's a sock for your knee. What's that all about? When I first saw people wearing these, in all honesty, I thought people had like a knee injury or something, like, when people have those. But then I found out that knee sleeves are a great piece of equipment. So what they do is you put them around your knee and they compress your knee joint. So what that does is it increases the blood flow. It really kind of warms up those joints and those muscles around your knee, which will just help with your squatting a lot. Don't ask me why I'm out of breath from putting those on. I gotta do more cardio. Now, they are only used for squatting. I have yet to see someone use them for bench. I honestly found a difference when I used these versus when I didn't, because I found, especially with the knee joint, it's very delicate, and having that extra compression around it and bringing that blood flow to it and warming up those kind of, joints and things like that, really important. Now, not to say you shouldn't warm up before, this is just to add to it. I don't think you have to squat any certain amount of weight to be able to use these. I think everyone can benefit from knee sleeves. So knee sleeves for me, I have found to be incredible, and I recommend them to everybody. Now, to give a little summary of each piece of equipment, and then we'll jump into the bonus ones. So we got our chalk, which is great for helping you to grasp that bar better. Grasp that bar better? That sounded funny. Yeah, have fun with the chalk, Just use it in the gym, okay? Then we got the wrist straps, wrist wraps, which I love for squatting. I'm also going to be using them for benching as well once I get heavier with that. Then we got the lifting belt, which again, get it when you know how to brace properly and how to use the belt. Shoes, great for someone like me that needs help with that little bit of ankle mobility, and even though I do work on ankle mobility, they still are not where I want it to be. So this is great. Knee sleeves, awesome. And also, I like this material because I can wash it. Otherwise, they get stanky fast. Okay, let's get into the bonus things. Let's talk about wrist straps for a second here and why I do not like them. Now, I used to, I just got so much chalk everywhere. I used to love these, and the reason why I used to love them is because I relied on them way too much. When I stopped using them, my deadlift went down like 20 pounds. Actually, no, that's an exaggeration, like 10 pounds. Yeah, that's still pretty bad though. And the reason is because they were concealing my grip strength problem, which I think they do for a lot of people, and you cannot use these in powerlifting meets and competitions, and I think that's that way for a reason. If you're not going to compete and you're just doing it for fun, they can be a great tool for you, yes. But I do think that working on grip strength is very important because your hands need to be strong when it comes to this sport, okay? You don't want to rely on a strap to help you get the bar up. When I stopped using them, I incorporated a lot of carries, holds, hangs, things like that, where I really improved my grip strength a lot. And I noticed my numbers going up in the lifts because your grip strength is involved in everything. And you can only really use these with the deadlift. So you still need that strong grip strength when you're pushing the bar up for a bench, when you're holding it for a squat. So that's the reason why I personally do not like them, because they hide that problem. But if you're just starting out and you're not competing and you want to use them, go for it, but make sure you still include grip strength exercises. The other bonus piece of equipment is I got these clips from Amazon because the gym that I go to has the like spring loaded clips, which those can work fine, but I found some of them would slide off when they lost their kind of spring, or they were just a pain to get on and off. But these, you just open up like that, put it around the bar, and then you just snap, and then to release, just like that. Like, it's super easy. These are by no means necessary, okay? Like, this is going above and beyond here. I just like it. Another bonus piece of equipment, which I have gotten bullied tremendously over, are these micro plates. Now, when people see with these, you may get bullied, but who cares? The haters are gonna hate no matter what you do. That's the way I look at it. The reason why I got these plates from Amazon, which were ridiculously overpriced for a literal 1 pound, piece of metal, whatever this is. It's metal, right? Yeah, it's metal. Okay. I'm so dumb sometimes. Oh my God. So the reason I love these is because for me, going up 5 pounds is quite a bit of a jump, and I wouldn't make that kind of increase. I wouldn't be able to make that lift all the time. So I came across these, and now if you put a 1.25 on each side, you go up 2.5 pounds overall instead of 5. And for me, I increased the weight at a slower rate than, putting 2.5 pounds on each week and things like that. I found these to be great to add a little incremental bit onto each. Now, my friends definitely have had many laughs about me and these. Again, not necessary. That's why I put it in bonus, but I still wanted to add it in there. Don't miss my video where I talk about the 5 things you need to know before you get into powerlifting. It's gonna be right here on the screen. I talk about programming, all the juicy stuff you need to know to get right on track. And I hope that you guys have a killer day. Bye.